World War II, the most devastating conflict in human history. But amidst the chaos and destruction, there's a lesser-known story, one that shocked captured German soldiers and generals to their core. Picture this. It's 1943. German generals and soldiers, captured by American forces, are being transported to prisoner-of-war camps. They've been taught that the Americans are weak, decadent, and that their empire is built on lies. They expect harsh treatment, perhaps even torture. Instead, they're about to witness something that would fundamentally challenge everything they believed about their enemy. German general in German, subtitled Water, We Need Water. American Guard, Friendly water? Sure thing. But first, let me get you settled. What happened next left these battle-hardened generals speechless. They weren't just given water. They were given Coca-Cola. Ice-cold Coca-Cola. Many had never even heard of this American beverage. And it didn't stop there. Ice cream. Chocolate bars. 3 full meals a day with more food than most German civilians had seen in years. German POWs were paid 80 cents a day for their work, enough to buy 16 bottles of Coca-Cola. They had access to a camp commissary, where they could purchase treats that had become impossible luxuries back home. Ice cream came in 3 flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Always available. No rationing. No shortages. One German soldier, captured in 1944, would later write, "I stood in front of a shop in the POW camp at Fort Lewis, considering what to buy first, an ice cream or a bottle of Coca-Cola. The last ice cream I had been able to buy in Germany was years ago. But Coca-Cola, never before. So I decided to take both." The American military hadn't designed an elaborate brainwashing program. They simply treated prisoners according to the Geneva Convention, with dignity and respect. But this simple act became the most effective re-education tool imaginable. German POWs worked on American farms, not as slave labor, but as paid workers. Farmers invited them to Sunday dinners. They ate lunch alongside American field hands. They saw black and white Americans working together. Women, disabled people, and Hispanics employed in factories. All of this contradicted the Nazi propaganda about racial purity and American weakness. The statistics tell an incredible story. German POWs gained an average of 25 pounds during their 3 years in American camps. Japanese prisoners went from 1,200 calories a day to 3,800. Some were so shocked by the sudden abundance that they initially thought they were being poisoned. Meanwhile, the Coca-Cola Company was on a mission of its own. With General Eisenhower's support, they built 64 bottling plants in combat zones across Europe and the Pacific. The goal? Ensure every American soldier and every prisoner could have a taste of home, a symbol of what they were fighting for. In June 1943, Eisenhower himself sent a telegram. 3 million bottled Coca-Cola and complete equipment for bottling, equipment for installation in different localities, each complete for bottling 20,000 bottles per day. Decades later, former German POW Rolf Grau would return to the same camp where he was held. Now in his 90s, he had a message for America. Rolf Grau with Irises W.E. quoted, "I suddenly realized how extremely lucky I had been to be captured by the American Army and not the Russian one. My stay here was the best treatment I've had." Pause. He would later reflect, "With all the trouble in the Middle East, I think of the prisoners of ISIS. They won't get ice cream or Coca-Cola." Here's the irony. While American forces were distributing Coca-Cola to German prisoners, German soldiers on the front lines were desperately seeking captured Coke bottles on the black market, where they fetched astronomical prices. They weren't entirely unfamiliar with the drink. Coca-Cola had operated in Germany before the war. When the American embargo cut off the syrup supply, the German manager created a substitute using available ingredients: whey, apple pomace, and sugar beet. They called it Fanta. By 1943, 3 million cases were sold in Germany. Many used not as a beverage, but as a cooking ingredient to add sweetness to rationed food. German generals asked for water because that's all they expected, the bare minimum dictated by the rules of war. Instead, they got Coca-Cola and ice cream, not through propaganda or coercion, but through something far more powerful: witnessing American abundance and values firsthand. In the end, America didn't defeat German ideology with bullets alone. They defeated it with bottled Coca-Cola at 5 cents a pop, ice cream in 3 flavors, and the simple revolutionary act of treating the enemy as human beings. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon isn't what you'd expect.